Hello and welcome to World of Warships with me, Bubblebox, and finally the long-awaited and much anticipated Royal Navy has made its way into World of Warships. It's just the cruiser line, the cruiser ships, but definitely a welcome addition to the game. There's also a couple of premium ships, and I think they're bringing in the Belfast cruiser as a premium ship as well. But I just want to talk a little bit about the cruisers while showing a bit of gameplay with the Black Swan. So we're going to head into a game and I'm going to give you my views on the Royal Navy cruisers in World of Warships. So we're just starting to engage the enemy, and as you can see it's pretty much all Black Swans against Black Swans because the patch or the update has just come out and everyone seems to be playing the Royal Navy cruisers. So we're pretty much, I think, nearly all Black Swans. There's a couple of Orlans in there, a couple of Russian cruisers as well, but it's a cruiser battle. And I'll tell you my views on the British cruisers as we join in this battle, as I try to get some shots on the Black Swan of Hooray Harkness. And you can see the first thing that I'm going to note is the armor is extremely fragile, and if you get out in front like that with your Black Swan, you are going to get absolutely destroyed and you're going to get citadeled to death. The armor on these things is very weak and they have very large citadels which do point above the water as well quite a lot. I'm just reversing up now just to try to get some shots on this guy who's 5 kilometers away and is detecting me. I'm going to have to try to engage this guy because I am, although I'm kind of back in the pack a little bit, I should be fairly safe. This guy is going to go down really fast because he is way too close to all our guys. You can see another citadel there. The armor, as I say, extremely weak. The citadels are make this ship very, very vulnerable. However, the good point about one of the good points, should I say, about the British cruisers is their guns, and their artillery is pretty damn decent. Despite first view thinking, hang on a minute, it's only armor piercing. Yep, it's only armor piercing. Apart from the Belfast, which is the premium ship, these ships can only fire armor piercing rounds and no high explosive rounds at all for the British cruisers. But, and it is a big but, as I just try to avoid bashing into this island, the short fuse time, which is much shorter than any of the other, than the AP shells on any of the other ships of the other nations, is so short that you will rarely over penetrate even against weak armor. And the angle of hit as well, which is different to many of the other ships, or I think all of the other ships, in fact, means that their shots are very unlikely to bounce. So although you're only AP, you're going to pretty much hit, and your AP shells are going to do a lot of damage almost all the time, even up close against those weakly armored destroyers. So don't worry too much about overpenning with your AP. Now these ships are kind of gone behind the island, so again I'm just going to back up, try to stay in the pack a little bit. It's still an open game, still fairly even. We are one ship up at the moment. Let's move on though to talk about, while I'm out of range a little bit, to talk about the torpedoes. The British cruisers do have torpedoes from tier 3, and these torpedoes have a very precise firing arc and can be fired one at a time, unlike any of the torpedoes of any of the other nations. Yep, one at a time, which I guess could be good, could be bad, don't know. Gonna have to play a few games and play around with that as I'm just trying to creep up on these guys. Again, using island hugging techniques because we are extremely squishy and we need to be as stealthy as possible. Back to the torpedoes though. Yep, they do fire one at a time, and I guess that's to try to preempt enemy dodging and enemy course changes. And it might be useful, especially against a better player that's good at dodging, as I just go straight ahead for these guys now. It's good at kind of torpedo dodging. If you can fire one at a time, you might catch him out or her out. Now I've gone face on here because I'm still kind of with a group of 3 of my compatriots, also in Black Swans of course, and even if I'm bow on, the bow armor is very weak. I think it's only about 6mm, so I'm still vulnerable, but as long as I'm completely bow on, hopefully some of their shots will kind of bounce off and won't penetrate. Although if a side-on like this guy is doing, although I think he's actually turning to run, then I just got another citadel, as you can see there, with the weak armor, and he's going to go down very, very easily. And because I'm bow on as well, I can still fire 4 out of my 6 guns. So I don't lose a lot in firepower, but I do gain a lot defensively, in that the enemy can't hit me anywhere nearly as precisely or do as much penetrative damage, I'm hoping anyway. I think that's how it works. So that's kind of the torpedoes dealt with anyway, as we turn over towards the enemy's zone. AA. Well, there's not a great deal to say about the AA for the British cruisers. It's pretty poor, basically, especially in the low and medium tiers, but does improve in higher tier ships. And that's pretty much all I've got to say about the AA. Stay away from the aircraft carriers, in my opinion, with the British cruisers, unless you've got something to protect you. Now then, there is one other big advantage, as I'm just trying to catch up with the action here. There's one other big advantage that the British do have, and that is, again here, I don't want to put myself too far out in front, which is why I'm going to kind of do a bit more island hugging, as yep, more nice hits on Black Swans. Yeah, the other big advantage, maneuverability. Speed is pretty average in the British cruisers, pretty comparable to all the other cruisers, but the maneuverability of this ship is excellent for a cruiser. It's almost kind of halfway between the other cruisers and a destroyer, in that the British cruisers scrub very little speed when turning, better than pretty much all the other cruisers. So you can turn and you can maintain a high speed at the same time, which gives you, which will be interesting to use, especially when you're island hugging and trying to outmaneuver the enemy destroyers perhaps, but definitely enemy cruisers. Remember, you're going to want to stay away from enemy battleships. Another thing that kind of goes alongside maneuverability, which is pretty decent for the British cruisers, is their concealment. Concealment is mostly very good, with the option of getting a smoke consumable from tier 5. Yep, you can get a smoke consumable with these ships. It isn't that effective, it lasts a very short period of time, and again is really meant to be used, I guess, tactically rather than for any other reason. You can't really use it to turn and run away, because you kind of would outrun your smoke, because you're only going to get, it's very short. I think it's only like 5 or 6 or 7 seconds worth of smoke, and once you've popped it, if you're moving, you're going to be out of it before you know it. But anyway, we're heading now towards into the enemy base, into the enemy's capture zone. They are in a little bit of trouble. They've only got 2 ships left. I am bow on again. I'm just going straight for this Black Swan, see if I can catch it up. But while we're doing that, and in summary, I'll say about the British cruisers, keep away from battleships and aircraft carriers. Definitely go for those destroyers. You would go for the destroyers anyway, wouldn't you? If you're in a cruiser, that's what the cruisers are used a lot for in this game. But for the British cruisers, you're going to destroy destroyers, let's put it that way. Hug the islands, use smoke, work tactically with this ship, and try to outmaneuver the enemy, or maneuver certainly to your advantage when attacking. And that's pretty much what I think of the British cruisers, kind of just by looking at the stats and stuff, and without playing too much. But I'm going to be playing quite a lot of British cruisers over the next few days, I expect, trying to get through the tree as much as I can without using kind of premium and all that sort of thing. But we're just heading up. There's that pesky Russian, and you can see the Russian ship, although I take it out eventually, wasn't getting any citadels against the Russian cruiser. But the Black Swans, I just get citadel after citadel after citadel. And there's one left now, and looks like he's hightailing it. And there's another double citadel hit, I think that was. Just so vulnerable to citadel hits, these British cruisers. And I'll tell you what, when the enemy see these things, and you're in a aircraft, well, even the medium tier British cruisers, and you've got an aircraft carrier or you're a battleship, you're going to be wanting to take these guys out, because they're going to be easy targets for you. But this guy's going to go down very shortly, hopefully very shortly. He's dodging and weaving, trying to stay alive for another few seconds, but it's not going to last another 8 minutes 55. Let's face it, if I can just get one more hit. Come on. Come on. They're just missing. There we go. I think I got that final kill. Nice. So, yeah, that's it, British cruisers. If you want to see more videos with the British cruisers, please do drop me a like and let me know in the comments below. I'd like to thank you all for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.